So, good morning, third graders. Welcome to week 2 of Summer Learning Academy. And so this week we're gonna focus on main idea again and key details. You all did really well, but I really want to make sure that we are learning all of those parts and that we actually get it. We're also gonna talk about narratives. Does anybody remember what a narrative is? Any silent raise hand? What is a narrative? We kind of talked about it in the school year, then we kept going into informational text. But what is a narrative? Does anybody know what a narrative is or have an idea of what a narrative is? Caveat focus. Go ahead, Brooke. What's a narrative? Press the button. Go ahead.
A narrative is a. Can you come back to me, please?
I can come back to you. It's all right. It is all right. So, you can't hear me? Okay, hold on. I'm trying to figure out why you can't hear me. Let me see if I can turn my sound up. Can you hear me now, Alicia? A little closer. Can you hear me now? Okay. So, Dylan, what's a narrative? Go ahead, Dylan.
A character is
not a character, a narrative.
A narrative. What is a narrative story?
It is a character.
It has characters, yes, it does. But what do I mean by it's a narrative, though? It does have characters, but what do I mean by narrative?
A spoken or written account.
It's a story or a written account. Good job. So a narrative is a story written by the person telling it. So if I'm the author, I'm writing a story about my life. So that's what a narrative is. It's like something personal. So this story today is something very personal to the author. So a narrative, boys and girls, is a very personal story, meaning the author wrote it about what's going on in their lives. All right, let's go over the rules real quick. I'm gonna share my screen. So we go over the rules real quick, as usual. Go back to this. All right, virtual learning etiquette, what to do when learning from the computer. Remember to be on time. Class starts at 10 a.m. every morning. You earn 5 dojo points when you are on time. You will be put on mute. There will be no talking while others, especially me, are speaking. If you would like to share, please raise your hand, or I can see in the chat box you would like to speak and your answers. I will also call on students to speak. Clear all distractions. Pick a place in your house that is free of distractions. I know some of you all at the school, so make sure you are free of distractions. You need to focus, and so do your classmates. Have your materials. You need your binders every day. If you are in summer camp, leave the binders in the school. Remember, there's no homework, so there's no need for you to take those binders outside of the school. You should always have something to write with, so hopefully everybody has a pencil or a pen. You are getting the grades, so do your best. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit about grades because you all are getting your progress reports today, email to your parents. Use the chat box correctly. You cannot talk to your friends in the chat box during instruction. Remember, I can see when you all are privately messaging each other. So do not do that because I will take a screenshot and send to your friends. You'll be kicked out if you're having a conversation or saying any inappropriate things in the chat box. If you are kicked out, your parents will be notified. You will still have to do your work. All answers should be written in the chat box unless I say raise a hand. All right, let me stop sharing my screen. Are there any questions about the rules? Any questions? Oh, I don't know why I'm breaking up. Oh no. Okay, let me see if I stay closer to my computer that y'all can hear me. Okay, so remember, dojo points start over this week. This week you have to earn 80, and Miss Arguello is going to include a special snack with the snacks we gave y'all last week. So this week you have to earn 80 dojo points. How do you earn those dojo points? Being on time, completed all of your work. If your work is correct, you get more dojo points. So make sure you're paying attention. You also do the same thing in math. So get it 80 dojo points by the end of Friday. By Friday, you should have 80 dojo points. And also, progress reports are coming out today. They will be emailed to your parents or whatever email is signed up that you signed up with for summer camp. So, does that mean you're going to fail a grade? No, that does not mean you're going to fail. It's just showing you what you're doing. So when you see your grades, make sure you are turning your work every day. Make sure it's correct because you will have your grades by the end of today. It will be emailed to your parents. All right. So let's get into main idea, key details about a narrative. Remember, a narrative is a personal story told by the author, meaning he or she went through this story, and so they're telling their own story. I need y'all to go to the story called From Pit to Pond in your binders. And I'm going to share my screen so y'all can see what that looks like. From Pit to Pond. Let me go ahead and find it. No. From Pit to Pond. I'm also going to look for that real quick. Uh-oh. I know the internet is a little slow for everybody because of the weather, but just bear with us, okay? So you should be on this story right here, From Pit to Pond. From Pit to Pond. Done. I see you, Zakiria. She's there. Making sure you all are there. Making sure you all are there. From Pit to Pond. From Pit to Pond. Done. Brooke is done. All right. We'll go ahead and get started. So, go ahead and get started. I see you, Akira. All right. So when you're talking about a narrative, remember, it's a personal story written by the author. And let me stop sharing my screen for 1 second. So when you see this word narrator, that means that's the person who is telling the story. Hello, Jocelyn. Welcome. So the narrator is the author or the person telling the story. That's why it's called a narrative, because you have a narrator, which is the person or the author telling the story. And I want y'all to look for these key words. First, next, then, and last. What do these words tell me? It's telling me what? Something of events. I wonder if y'all can type it in the chat box. Something of events. These words tell me something of events. And it looks like it's going in order too. So what is that? What is that? Can somebody tell me what is that? Go ahead, Akira.
Sequence of events?
You're absolutely correct. Sequence of events. Go ahead, Caviar. You want to speak as well? You want to add on? Go ahead, Caviar. Add on to that. Oh, go ahead, Caviar. Sorry.
What is the mean password?
Come up close. I can't hear you.
What is the mean password?
The meaning password is promise3. Promise3. Welcome back.
ID.
Huh?
I mean the ID.
The ID number. Hold on. Let me get that for you. The ID number is. What I just do with it? The ID number is 920-4468-1516. And I'm gonna put that in the chat box for you. All right, so Akira was correct. First, next, then, and last does mean sequence of events. It does mean sequence of events. So when you're telling your narrative or you're telling your personal story, you're going in order. I know I'm trying to stay close to the, sorry, Ed. So again, the narrator, the person who writes the story, and of course, when they write a narrative, they use these letters I mean, sorry,
Negative
first, next, then the last to tell their story in
nine.
order.
I missed it
Tell
again.
their story in order. All right, now go from pit to pond. You had a question, Alicia? Oh no, you just wiping your eye. Let me go here. All right. So from pit to pond by Wendy. Oh, where'd it go? Ms. Alexander's have a couple of difficulties. From Pit to Pond by Wendy Hobday Hall. So, Wendy, let me go ahead, Calvion. Wendy Hobday Hall has written for highlights. In this memoir, Hall describes how the pit in her backyard became a beautiful pond. As you read, take notes of what changes Hall and her family made to the pit. So, hold on just 1 second. I'm put somebody on mute. Hold on.
Who was I looking at?
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. Somebody's off mute. Let me make sure everybody's on mute. There we go. All right. So I want y'all to type in the chat box. When we read it for the main idea, how many times should we read a story? Type it in the chat box. When we read it for main idea, how many times should we read a story? When we're reading for the main idea, how many times should we read a story? I see answer from Madison, Zakaria, Akira, Ed, Brooke. All right, I have almost everybody. You are all absolutely correct. And because you are correct, remember correct answer, get y'all 2 dojo points. So, you have to read it twice. You have to read it twice. Great job. Thank y'all for y'all answers. You have to read this twice. All right. So now let's go back to our story. And I'm gonna read it first, and then you're going to read it to look for that main idea. When my dad began building our home, he needed dirt to fill in around the base of the house. He hired someone with a backhoe to dig up more dirt. Dig down there, Dad told the man, pointing to a low spot in our backyard. Then haul the dirt up here by the house. First, a big pit. Soon our backyard had a huge hole. The pit was like a big bowl with a clay bottom. The clay kept rainwater from draining quickly into the earth, so the pit slowly filled with water. Next, frogs and lily pads. Before long, a few frogs moved into our pit, croaking noisily. Frogs like lily pads, I told Mom. My grandmother dug up 2 water lilies from her small garden pool. Weigh the roots down with small rocks, Grandma said, then gently toss them into the water. Once the plants take the root in the dirt, they'll start growing towards the sunlight. Does anybody know what happens when plants grow towards the sunlight? What is that called? What is that called when plants grow to sunlight? It's something in science. What is that called when plants grow towards the sunlight? Do anybody remember from science? What's that called when plants grow towards the sunlight? Does anybody from science remember? Go ahead, Calvion.
Constellation?
No, constellation is when you're dealing with the stars, baby. So constellation is when you're dealing with the stars. Good try though. I'm glad you raised your hand. When a plant grows towards the sunlight, remember the sunlight gives that plant energy. What is that called? Does anybody remember what's that called? Akira?
Evaporation?
Nope, evaporation is when water is in the air. It's called photosynthesis. Does anybody remember that? Photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is when plants grow towards the sun because that sun gives the plant energy. All right, let's keep going with our story. So, dear baby turtles. One day in the late summer, I discovered dozens of baby snapping turtles. crawling from the tunnels in our hard park driveway. They were so tiny, they tripped over blades of grass. Will they find our pit? I wondered excitedly. I read that when baby turtles are born, they already know that they need to find water. Sure enough, the baby turtles scrambled clumsily down the hill to our water-filled pit. Finally, a pond. My best friend returned from a fishing trip and called me. I've got a bucket of leftover bait fish. Can I put them in your pond? Pond? Until that moment, I never really thought of the big bear pit in our backyard as a pond. By next spring, melting winter snows raised the water level, weeds and wildflowers sprang up along the banks, lily pads sprouted and blossomed, frogs, fish, and turtles played in the murky water. I had to admit that our big pit had turned into a beautiful, small pond. All right. What words did she use in our story? So it was written by Wendy. Remember, it's a narrative, so this is her own story. What are the words that she used to show sequence of events? What are the words that she used to show sequence of events? Go ahead, Akira.
When? When?
Say that again.
When?
No, what words in her story did she write in her story to show sequence of events? So meaning something that's happening in order. What words did she use to show sequence of events? Go ahead, Dylan. Go ahead, Dylan.
First, next, then, finally.
Good job. She used first, next, then, and finally. First, next, then, and finally. Great job. Great job. Also, Madison, I text your mom. I did not forget about you. I will be coming to see you today later on. I did not forget about you. That storm really, was a miss. All right. So this time I want you to take 5 minutes to reread. Remember, I read it once. You're supposed to read twice for the main idea. And I want y'all to circle what the main idea is, the sentence that's telling us the main idea. I'm gonna give y'all 5 minutes to read the story and then circle the sentence that's telling us the main idea. Get up, Brooke. That's telling us the main idea of the story. So put the clock on. You got 5 minutes to reread the story and tell us exactly what sentence telling us the main idea of the story. Tell us the main idea of the story. Put the timer on for 5 minutes. Make sure you are rereading and circling the sentence that's telling us the main idea of the story, because I want y'all to take a picture of that sentence and put it on Class Dojo after the class. Which sentence is telling you the main idea? Trying to reread and find the sentence that's telling us the main idea. You can type done in the chat box when you are done. Make sure you look for that sentence, circle that sentence that's telling us the main idea. I see a lot of you all reading and looking for that sentence that's telling us the main idea, because you are going to take a picture of that and upload it to Dojo. Brooke is done. All right, Brooke. Which sentence is telling us the main idea of this entire story, the central idea of this entire story? No, no, no. You're not supposed to type the answer, Zakaria. Don't type the answer yet. I'm gonna call a couple of people to speak, but no, don't type the answer. Just tell me when you're done reading.
You don't even have your video.
Yep. All right. Make sure you circle that main idea, not the key details, just the main idea, not the key details, just the main idea. All right. I think that's almost everyone that's done reading. Yeah, you're supposed to circle it in the story, not the questions. No, Emily, not the questions. Circle the sentence inside the story. Not the questions. Do not do the questions just yet. Do not do the questions just yet. All right, one more minute. Make sure everybody's done. Hopefully you have circled that answer. I see you, Cavion. Make sure you remember to type done. Make sure you have circled. I think that's everybody in this chat. Yep, I can stop here. That's everybody. All right, let's go back. So, what is the main idea of our story? Which sentence did you circle? Anybody with a silent raise hand? Which sentence did you circle that's telling us the main idea? Zakaria, go ahead, unmute yourself. Wait, I can't hear you, baby. We can't hear you. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna call on Madison. Madison, hold on, Zakaria. I'm gonna call on Madison. I see that you participate. Remember, I'm watching you. Madison, can you tell us what's the main idea? The sentence that you circled for the main idea? Madison. Oh, okay. Nope. Go ahead, Jocelyn. What did you circle for the main idea?
I circle I had to admit that our ring pit had turned into a beautiful small pond.
Good job. Great job. Great job. You were supposed to circle that last sentence. I had to admit that our big pit had turned into a beautiful small pond. There was also one more sentence before that. That was also part of the main idea, but great job. That's one of the sentences. One more sentence right before that. Madison, go ahead.
The sentence that says lily pad sprouted and blossomed.
Nope, it was a sentence right before the one Jocelyn said. So look at the last page. Look at the last page. So she had it right. She said, I had to admit that our big pit had turned into a beautiful small pond. What's the sentence before that that's also telling us the main idea?
Frogs, fish, and turtle play in the murky water.
Keep going. Keep going. It starts with a B.
By the next spring, melted winter snows raised the water level.
Good job. And weeds and wildflowers sprang up along the banks. Lily pads have sprouted and blossomed. Frogs, fish, and turtles play in that murky water. And I had to admit, our big pit turned into a beautiful small pond. Great job, everybody. Great job. Make sure you are circling those last two. Sorry, that I guess you could say that was a paragraph. So that paragraph and that last sentence, that's telling us the main idea. Are you raising your hand, Calvion? Okay. All right.
My mama said, do you know the class code to Class Dojo?
The class code, I'm going to type it at the end of the class. I'm going to type it in the chat box real quick, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So, now, go to, okay, you have a question, Dylan? Go ahead, Dylan. Yep.
I can't hear nobody.
You couldn't hear nobody. I'm sorry. So the main idea is by next spring, melted winter snows raise the water level, weeds and wildflowers spring up along the banks, lily pads have sprouted and blossomed, frogs, fish, and turtles played in the murky water. I had to admit that our big pit had turned into a beautiful small pond. That's what our main idea. Now, if everybody can go to the questions, the text dependent question, I'm gonna share my screen of what that looks like. So you should be here where it says text dependent questions. You should be here where it says text dependent questions. All right. So now I want y'all to type your answer to number 1 in the box, in the chat box. And it says part A, which sentence best describes the central idea of the text? So y'all which sentence best describes the central idea or the main idea of the text? Is it A, surprising places can become good homes for animals and plants? B, ponds make the best homes for frogs and turtles? C, humans should make homes for plants and animals? Or D, it is good for humans to save rainwater for the future? Which one of these is the best describe what the whole story was talking about? Which describes what this entire story was talking about? I'm gonna come to you, Madison. I see that you raise your hand. Yeah, you go type it in the chat box. Go. Yeah, Madison.
Do you want us to raise our hand for the answer or type it in chat box?
Type it in the chat box, boo.
Okay.
Okay. Type it in the chat box. What's the answer to our question? Which sentence best tell us the central idea or the main idea? So which one is tell us the main idea of the text? Is it A, surprising places can become good homes for animals and plants? B, ponds make the best homes for frogs and turtles? C, humans should make good homes for plants and animals? Or D, it is good for humans to save rainwater for the future? I want y'all to think, what was this entire story about? Which one of those tells the entire story? Which one tells that entire story? I think I have almost everyone in the chat box. Which one is telling us that entire story? Make sure you put the answer, not the word dumb. Make sure you're putting the answer in the chat box. Make sure you're putting the answer. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. If you have the answer A, which a lot of y'all did, you are absolutely correct. A was our answer. A, you should have A for the main idea. And surprising places can become good homes for animals and plants. Go ahead, Akiri, I saw that you had your hand raised.
You said what?
A was the answer. A.
Mhm.
Why is A the answer, Akira? Tell us why A was the answer.
A is the answer because it says surprising places can become good homes for animals or plants because she had found a turtle and it was crawling to the pond and She
Keep going. You doing good. Keep going. You were doing good. Keep going.
had asked, can the turtle live in a pond? And then all the animals had started going into the pond, and then plants had started growing into the pond.
Good job. Good job. Excellent. So eventually all the animals started going towards the pond. The plants started to grow in the pond. Akira had a great response to why A is the answer. So now let's go to number 2. Which detail best from the text best supports? So now you're looking for this key detail. Best supports your answer to A. So we know that number 1 was A. So which key detail best supports that? Is it A, the clay kept rainwater from draining quickly into earth, so the pit slowly filled with water? Is it B, they gently toss them into the water? Once the plants take root in the dirt, they'll start growing towards the sunlight. Is it C, one day in the late summer, I discovered dozens of baby snapping turtles crawling from the tunnels in our hard-packed driveway? Or is it D, until that moment, I never really thought of our big bear pit in our backyard as a pond? Which key detail best supports your answer to number 1? Which key detail, type it in the chat box. Which key detail best supports your answer to number 1? Which key detail, meaning key, meaning important detail, which key detail best supports your answer to number 1? Which one is telling us that surprising places can become good homes for animals and plants? Which one of these key details is related or matches the one you put for number 1? Yeah, oh, let me go to you, Madison. Go ahead, Madison.
Are you gonna put the class code in at the end of when we get done with reading?
I'm about to put it now because after this one, I'm gonna let y'all do the other ones on y'all own. So I'm about to put the class code in there now. After I see y'all answers, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna give y'all 10 more seconds. Go ahead, type your answer into the chat box. Okay, Ed raised his hand. Hold on, Ed, I'm coming to you. Go ahead, Ed. Press the button. Go ahead, Ed. Ed, you breaking up, buddy. What you say? It's okay. Uh-oh. Type it in the chat box, Ed, because you're breaking up. Type it in the chat box. So, number 2, it says, which detail from the text best supports the answer to part A? You should have put the answer. Let me see what y'all put. Let's see the answer that y'all put first before I say what the answer is. You should have actually put D. Until that moment, I never really thought our big bear pit in our backyard as a pond. Remember, there was something for the turtles and the plants to live in, the frogs to live in. So he never thought that big old hole in his backyard, because if you go back to the first paragraphs, to where it says first, soon our backyard had a huge hole. The pit was like a big bowl with a clay bottom. So at first it was just this big hole in the backyard. Then it became a pond, and he was really surprised by that it actually became a pond. So the answer to number 2 was actually D. So if you don't have D, make sure you change your answer. Make sure you change your answer. Zakaria, you typing too much. It was actually D, not B. D is a dog, not B. D is a dog. All right. So now you're going to do 3, 4, and 5 on your own. Make sure you upload it to Class Dojo. Make sure you upload all your work to Class Dojo. I'm gonna give y'all time to go ahead and do 3, 4, and 5 and upload it to Dojo. Yes, Valeria, the answer was D. And you can upload it to Dojo. I'm gonna give y'all that time. Also, let me type in, if you don't have the class code to Dojo, I'm about to let y'all in, so just 1 second, I'm gonna get that code for you. But right now, you should be doing 3, 4, and 5 so y'all can upload it before math. Let me get the code for y'all. So I'm typing it in the chat box. Number 1 was A, and then number 2 was D. You're absolutely correct, Emily. And I'm typing in the chat box, the class code to Dojo. So that's what I'm typing. So that's me typing. If you need a class to, if you need the code to Dojo, that is the class code is BOKPMG. And right now you're doing questions 3, 4, and 5, so you can upload it to Dojo. Remember, you do get grades and stuff like that, so I need to see y'all work. If you are done, you can log out, and I'll be seeing you. You have to do them all, Zakaria. You have to do all questions. If you didn't do 1 and 2, you have to do 1 and 2, and then you have to do questions 3, 4, and 5, and upload it to Dojo. Take a picture, upload it to Dojo. And what I just put in the chat box, good job, Zakaria, sorry. What I just put in the chat box was the code to Class Dojo if you did not get into Class Dojo today. And if you have any questions, I'm right here. But if you want to go ahead and log out and do your work, you can. All right, Brooke, are you leaving me? You want to say you leaving me? I mean, if you can't, if you want to, if not, we can stay on. Anybody got some questions? Something like that? Anybody need some help?
Real quick.
Yeah. Go ahead, Caviar.